Greetings, fellow Sapiens, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of a brand new series covering the game Sapiens. If you would like to skip the game's overview or the details of this specific series, please use YouTube chapters. Welcome everybody to a brand new series playing Sapiens. For those that do not know, Sapiens is a game where you create your own prehistoric civilization and lead your tribe into a world you shape. Starting with nothing, build towns and industry, and advance through thousands of years of technological breakthroughs in this intimate yet expansive colony sim. This series, it's going to be a hybrid of tutorial and let's play, and I'll be incorporating feedback only from polling. I'll be playing on a hard biome, and that was voted on by you all prior to streaming. I'll be on a random seed, and I am playing the 0.4.2.5 game version. And the reason I mention that is in just a few days, 0.5 comes out, which adds co-op multiplayer. But that is not the version I am currently playing on. And I am not playing with any mods. So let's get going. I'm going to create a brand new world with a random seed. So the world name is going to be Yoda. I'll just re-roll the seed one more time and create the world. So once the world's created, we zoom in and find a tribe to start with. But let me read this story text. For millennia, Sapiens have been exploring Yoda. That kind of sounds wrong, but alright. Small tribes are scattered wide across the world, traveling, gathering, hunting, and surviving. These Sapiens are happy, but they are limited to their lack of knowledge and ambition. Alone they may survive, but can never reach their full potential. You are to become the guardian of a tribe of Sapiens. You will give them direction and purpose. Your goal is to encourage them to learn, advance, and grow, and ultimately to create a thriving Sapien civilization. Those you choose to lead will be the ancestors of the entire human species. All right! Choose your tribe wisely. So, you can just go anywhere on this world map that you want. And you all voted, or not specifically you guys, but the majority voted, or plurality voted that I pick a hard biome. So a hard biome is going to be these orange. Let me talk about the biomes real quick. The easiest is obviously going to be close to the equator, where there is lush forests. So something like this, a temperate birch forest where the winter doesn't get too cold, would be easier. Even down here, you have jungles, and they're even easier still. And that would be a darker blue color, or darker green color, excuse me, if I could find one. But I'm not really looking for those. I'm looking for hard. Very hard difficulties was on the poll. One of the things that makes them really difficult, and if you're brand new to the game, I would say don't do it, is it does not have trees. And in not having trees, it means that your ability to build kind of sucks. So I want a hard biome. And I'm also looking for starting 4 characters. You can start with more, but I want 4. The other things is I'm hoping to settle kind of near the foothills of a mountain, because being near a mountain means that mining is going to be significantly easier once we progress further into the game and we want to do stuff with metals. Now, I'm not sure I'll be able to do that in one stream, but potentially, if that is the case, I would like the option of being near some hilly mountains for mining. So I'm just zooming in and looking for potential locations. One thing to note, access to water does not matter in this game. Maybe it will in the future, but at least for now, it's not a game mechanic. You don't need water. So that is not necessarily a consideration for when picking a spot. And this selection process, this place will be okay. So it's in a valley between mountains. And then I'm starting with someone who's tone deaf, which means they are not good at music, someone who's focused, who kind of works faster, a fast learner, and weak immunity. All right, let's lead this tribe. All right, before I do anything further, the first tutorial here is gathering hay for sleeping mats. And I'm going to be playing through the tutorial, but I would like to pause the game, which is spacebar, and analyze my surroundings. So over here is a large plot of rich soil. Rich soil is better to farm on, as one could imagine. It's not imperative that you start on rich soil, because it's not that difficult to fertilize soil later in the game, but being near rich soil is going to be a big heads up, which is great. Over here we have some copper ore and tin ore in the mountains, and having that nearby is incredibly useful. That, I would say, access to trees and access to ores are probably the most important strategic resources that you're going to want to get your hands on, in my opinion. There's a okay amount of trees, not a ton, but an okay amount of trees. We've got elderberry trees, we've got raspberry bushes, some pine, some birch. And down here is poor soil, over here is sand. And then I did see some clay up here. Clay is also very nice to find. Often you can find clay underneath soils if you dig through them. And then this is the surrounding area. So I like this starting spot, actually quite a bit. And what I'm going to do is plan on trying to make as much use of this rich soil as possible, meaning that I want to start my my little starting settlement somewhere just next to it. So let's do here. Now the contextual menu for this game is a little bit different than a lot of other games. When you click on a tile, you can see what you can do with it. And see how it says clear or 1? When it says 1, that means if I just look at a tile, one of these hex tiles, and just type 1 in, I will clear it automatically, which is what I've just done. So now what's happening is my 4 starting Sapiens are heading over here to clear out the grass tiles. I am also going to run a giveaway. So the 4 starters are going to be raffled off to my subscribers, so good luck. I know I'm in front of the tutorial here. Maybe actually I will move myself. I didn't mean to put myself in front of the UI. So I'll be over here. I'll have to move Yoda too. Sorry, buddy, you're getting relocated. There we go. So now you can actually see the tutorial, which is move around with WSD, mouse wheel to zoom, and then we can clear grass with 1. And there we go. If you're wondering, grass does regrow, so you don't have to worry about stripping all the grass out. It's not a problem. Okay, now we have gathered hay. The next task to be revealed. There's also control tutorials as well, so you can fast forward with tab and pause with spacebar. Tutorial, storage areas. To store and manage all of your resources your tribe finds and crafts, you're going to need storage areas. Each storage area only stores a single type of resource, so you will need to build many more as you progress. At least 1 for each resource type. So the current priority, or current goal here, has me setting up 6 storage areas, and to store dry hay and branches. So if you hit F1, F1 is your build menu, F2 is tribe, F3 is roots, which will come in real later, and F4 is settings. So in your build menu, there's a storage area, and it does snap to a grid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a storage area here. And I'm going to set up this storage area to only accept hay that is wet. Wet hay only. Then I'm going to create another storage area over here. And these storage areas here, this one, all of these will accept none. There's a reason to do this, and it's because, and I'm going to ignore, oh, well, I'll read this to you. Selecting multiple things, you can select many objects or terrain tiles at once, and I'll demonstrate this in a second. So the reason why I am turning off all these storage areas is where you store things is relatively important. Very similar to a game like Going Medieval or RimWorld, where certain things will decay if left outside, but because it's really expensive to build covered storage for everything, you want to store as much outside as you can, storing things like rocks and twigs and the like outside, because they absolutely do not need to be stored indoors. So here's the select multiple things that the tutorial had me do. If I select a elderberry tree and go to select more, here is a radar map of all the elderberry trees nearby, and I can then select 8 of them at once and say, gather the branches. This also works for terrain soils. So if I wanted to clear out a huge swath of grass, I could do that way as well. So we're stockpiling hay into this wet hay storage zone, and it will dry when exposed to the sun, and then once it's dried, it will decay unless it's covered up well. Alright, the next thing we want to do is to collect branches. So I'm going to all the local trees here and gathering the branches from them. And here, as you can see, the hay is already starting to dry out. So what I'm going to do over here is click here, manage the storage, go down to hay, and say only include only include dry hay. And then I'm going to create one more thing. This is a bit further into the tutorial, but it's useful to know. If I click this storage zone and go manage storage, and then add a new route, I can move materials from here to here. And what this is going to do is it's going to store wet hay outside, and then once it dries, it's going to move it to here, which will eventually be an indoor zone. Alright, raffle timer is ready to go. So, first person is going to be known as Talkmore. So Talkmore, you are a focused adult. Next is the Draco. I'm just going to call you Draco. After that, Sakura. Is there a female on our roster? Given the name like Sakura, it would make sense. No, they're all male. Okay. And then last but not least, Tannery. Oops. All right. Tannering the tone-deaf adult. So covering their current traits, we have an adult with weaker immunity, which is Draco, which is a negative trait. We have an adult who's a fast learner, which is Sakura. Tannering is tone-deaf, and Talkmore is focused. So 2 negative traits, 2 positive traits. All right. Then the other thing I want to do over here is I'm going to stick another storage area right next to this one, and this is going to be for branches. The tutorial wants me to collect branches, but I had no valid storage for branches. Branches do not decay outside, so I'm going to put the branches next to the hay storage here. And here, as you can see, they're moving the dried hay into the designated storage using roots. The other thing I want to do with these trees is once we collect the branches off the trees, I want to collect pine cones as well. So if you were wondering, branches and pine cones do regrow after a time. So if you have a whole bunch of trees, it's a renewable resource of branches and pine cones or tree seeds or fruit, depending on what the tree yields. All trees either have fruit or some sort of seed. So elderberry trees will have elderberry seeds. These are, think, peach. Yeah, these peach trees will have peach seeds, birch seeds, so on and so forth. So now they're bringing the branches over, and then once we have 8 branches stockpiled over here, we'll progress to the next part of the tutorial. Done. Sleeping in beds. Sapiens will be happier if they sleep on a bed rather than the hard ground. So let's build a few beds. So F1, go to the hay bed. And I'm going to set their beds up alongside the stockpiles. I know it's rather ugly, but there's a reason for it. Which is that early game large structures are very cost prohibitive. So you want to keep things as neat as possible. And also you have all these controls over here. So you can rotate with X, Y, Z. You can move it slowly with control or quickly without control. So there's a bunch of different fine-tuned controls. Investigating to advance. In order to advance, Sapiens need to investigate the world around them. This leads to technological breakthroughs which will unlock things to build and craft. So, we need to investigate a branch. We need to investigate a rock. And we need to investigate hay. At this point, I'm going to also change who the investigators are. So if I go to roles here, investigations is something that Sakura, as a fast learner, is best at. So I'm going to unassign everybody else from investigations. Nobody else is going to do investigations other than Sakura. That way, the other people in the tribe are going to be doing other tasks that they're better suited for. And with that said, I am going to set up another storage area, and this one is going to be for large rocks. And I'll set up another one. Oops. R is the hotkey for destroying things. Set up another one for small rocks. So I'm telling them to store the local rocks into storage here. And Sakura is already just about done making a breakthrough in the investigation of sticks. New breakthrough. Fire lighting. Your tribe has discovered that heat is generated from the friction when you rub 2 sticks together. If it gets hot enough, an ember can be produced to start a fire. Alright. This stick I am going to go back to storing. So that we don't, just leave it there flaming. And Sakura is now investigating hay. Tralalero, Thryfang and Cowley, thank you for the resubs, and Sakura Witch for the bits, twice over. Fire is an important early discovery which provides light at night, helps you keep your tribe warm when it's cold, and allows cooking. Now would be a great time to get a fire started. So I think it would look really cool if I made a fire solely out of red rocks. So that is what I am going to do. And there's my fire. Now, in the roles here, Sakura self-assigned fire lighting, but I'm actually going to assign it to Talkmore. Talkmore is focused and better suited at lighting fires as a result. And then I'm going to have this as a priority, so that we get a fire going soon. Fire does not spread on its own, so this smoking stick is of no concern. New breakthrough. By using one rock to hit another, your tribe has discovered that the edges can be sharpened and some useful tools can be made. So we discovered rock napping. And again, in the roles here, I'm taking the task off of Sakura, and I'm going to give it to Tannering and Draco. So then we are investigating the last thing that the tutorial has us to do, which is investigating hay. Another thing I'd like to set up is a stockpile specifically for elderberries, so that we can have food nearby. And Sakura, being a fast learner, blew through these 3 investigations very quickly. New breakthrough, thatch building. Your tribe has discovered that when dried vegetation is lined up and placed over supporting structures, it can provide watertight shelter. Fantastic. If you hit enter, it will zoom to the latest alert that is in the top right. In this case, it was the thatch building discovery. Crafting area and tools. With an understanding of rock napping, Sapiens now have the ability to create tools. Hand axes and knives are very useful to start with, so your tribe should craft some now. The best way to manage your tribe's crafting activities is to first build designated crafting areas. So in the build menu, we have a crafting area. And I'm going to make it only out of plain rocks. And the tutorial wants me to make 4 of these. And I'm just going to put them outside for now. So Talkmore is gathering the red rocks for our campfire. And everybody else is gathering the seeds and pine cones and branches. Speaking of which, let's have another storage area for seeds. So seeds do decay, but they don't decay so fast that it's an issue. So leaving them outside is generally fine. So pine cones in one and seeds in the other. I don't have any seeds yet, so I'm going to say accept none for now. But once we have birch seeds, we will we'll be able to put the seeds in there. Looking good. Here's our fire. It is built, and now it just needs to be lit. Grabbing sticks. It's worth noting that in order to keep a fire going at all times, it requires a lot of fuel, which means really early game, I highly advise that unless you start in like a thick as hell forest, plant everything that you can. Collect all the seeds that you can, and then when you uncover the secrets of planting, plant trees everywhere, especially fruit trees. Building with thatch. With new understanding of thatch building, now would be a great time for the tribe to start working on some basic structures. They'll be happier under covers, and things under a roof will last longer. So let's go ahead and get some thatch building going. And now you can see why I had a fairly odd layout. So that we could sort of minimize the size at which this would have to be. And unfortunately for me, it clips into the fireplace, so I'll have to rebuild that at some point. I'll probably wait till tomorrow morning, because it's almost nighttime, and having a fire lit at nighttime is kind of useful. I'm actually going to plan on having it be open-ended at the end here, so that we can keep expanding it out this way if we feel like it. Technically speaking, the game doesn't really care whether you have walls or not. It really only cares if you have a roof. The roof is what keeps your stuff clean and dry. So when you're trying to keep your wealth from decaying, walls don't matter. You can have like a pillar and just a roof, like it's a all right. So just like that with the walls would be fine too. Is there a different roof section that I would prefer to have? No, I'll just do large thatch roof. That's fine. And now they're getting it built. Oh, I think we need a full wall section above it, huh? Just so tall. Put windows in. Have it look nice. Okay. And in order to do this kind of building, which is pretty expensive, we're going to need a lot of hay and a lot of sticks. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to prioritize the section that is over the berries, so that the berries do not decay as quickly. And we're just going to have to go far and wide to collect sticks, and sticks are going to be a big bottleneck early game until we get a big forest going around us. Hunger and food. Your sapiens are starting to get hungry. Sapiens don't gather fruits by themselves. You need to issue orders to gather, hunt, and store food. Don't gather everything at once, though. Most fruits will last on the tree until the next season, but will quickly rot if picked and left outside. So don't overpick. So I am going to select 3 raspberry bushes and gather only from the 3. I'm going to leave the others alone. All right, let's try to pick up where we left off. So right now, I'm going to update the current priority, which is build a basic thatch hut. Very straightforward. Build a basic thatch hut, that's all. All right. So, we also have other people arriving that we can recruit. So I am going to recruit this new guy. He just showed up. Tannering, you are very upset. You're very hungry. How about you stop and go eat? Are elderberries... Oh, you know what? Elderberries... I'm a little worried that they're not edible, that they're like an herb. I'm pretty sure they're edible, though. But I'll pick raspberries, because I know you eat raspberries for sure. Okay. We just recruited the 3 people that just, like, wandered in. So we have 3 new people now. We have Lamoma, Momoti, and Nilahe. And I'm going to be raffling these guys off, barring any unforeseen problems, to you all. So good luck. It also means that I'm going to probably want some additional hay beds. So I'll build enough beds to house 10. We're currently sitting at 7. And taking a look at the new guys and gals. One is... Lomoma is pregnant. And Momote is pregnant. No, Momote is a child. Got it. So one's pregnant, one's a child, which limits what kind of work they can do. So I'm going to change their employment so that they don't do any work that they can't do, like investigations or thatch building. But put them on rock napping and firelighting so that they can contribute to our little society, even though they have some work limitations. Campfires do indeed need fuel, yes. Constant fuel. Lots of fuel. All right. So we are just changing some of the layout here so it's a bit easier to build and expand. Collecting more grass for hay. We already have the beds, and fortunately these elderberries that are right here, they are now covered up by the roof, meaning that they don't decay nearly as quickly. And technically speaking, there should be... What I'm going to do is I'm going to prioritize this wall and this roof so that we can have other covered storages. But these 4 beds are going to be the nicest beds in our little hut, because they are roofed up for now. But I'll be adding more roofs in later. So I'm cutting a whole bunch of grass so that we can have a lot of hay. And still collecting fruit. And here, we will put raspberries. So the raspberries that we've been collecting off these bushes can have a place to live. Oh, Lomoma just had a baby girl. So now our population is 8. Only 7 are going to be raffleable. So the way the child works is it will be attached to Lomoma until they come of, like, child age. Alright, I should probably be on the hunt for additional sticks, because thatch construction costs a whole lot of sticks. Will the hay still dry if it's raining? I don't think so, but it rains so infrequently it's like not an issue that you're going to run into. There's also branches that sometimes are just on the ground, and you can forage for those as well. So I'm grabbing any loose branches that I find. There's 4 pine cones. Cool. And we'll try to get those planted soon as well. Let's come over to these peach trees and collect those branches. And you can see how, like, branch hungry you are really early game. Or, like, you have to run around everywhere to get the materials for even some basic building. Alright, raffles up. So first will be a Lomoma, and that's going to Guitar Lilin. Next is Mike. And last but not least, Rhadamant. I'll call you Rogi. Oh, there we go. Now we have 2 sheltered. Good. And I am going to continue prioritizing the roof and the walls that go over the bedding, so that people have shelter from the from nature. All right, next part of the tutorial here is to make 4 stone hand axes. And to make 4 stone knives. So knives help with the butchering of meat, and hand axes work to cut down trees and dig holes. That's kind of what their intentions are. Looking good. I'd also like to get the campfire back, because I had to remove it for space problems. So I'm going to place it right there. Another tribe has been spotted. Yeah, let's keep expanding. With the fruit trees and fruit bushes near me, I can probably afford to grow the population up to about a dozen early on. So my rock nappers are napping the tools that are requested. Oh, did I? Yeah, okay, this is redstone only. And Ken just joined the tribe. I'm just going to raffle it off now. Kellyan, he is yours. He came alone. When you recruit people, you don't really get to know their personalities ahead of time. And then they can come as a group or not. So what I'm going to do now is to change diplomacy. And I'm going to take everybody except for Mike and Kellyan off. Mike and Kellyan are the best at it. Investigations, I'm taking everybody with Sakura off. Basic building, everybody can do. General labor, everybody can do. Fire lighting, I'll keep it with just Talkmore. Rock napping will be Draco Rogi. Thatch building, I'm going to add Tannering and Talkmore. Alright, looks good. And my priority, as you can see on the top right of the screen, is just to continue working on building a basic hut. Can you recycle and reuse buildings? Yes. Yeah, if you break them down, it does give you the materials back. I'm also going to do an investigation of that pine tree. Also looks like we have some pumpkin over here. Let's collect that too. So what we need for the thatch building at this point is branches. And my crew over here are collecting branches from the peach tree. But we're going to have to start venturing further and further out from our home to collect branches. So what would be good is if we figured out a way to plant trees closer to us, because we have this large swath of rich soil here, which would be great for planting trees and the like. I'm also going to do an investigation of the soil. So I'm sitting on 48 elderberries, and they are going to stay fresh for about a year. So I'm not too worried about food, which is a good position to be in, I think. So here's Talkmore, or Sakura rather, investigating the tree. I'm also going to do an investigation into chicken. Ooh, we have copper ore over here. Let's collect that. That's for pine cones. This should be for seeds. So this is going to be for copper ore. Over here, pumpkins. Well, no, we haven't actually gotten any pumpkins yet. But what I will do is put manure in here. Because there seems to be manure on the ground. And I'll start collecting manure. Sakura has learned the tree felling skill, and I just learned how to cut down trees. With enough strikes with a hand axe, even the mightiest trees can be taken down. This will provide wooden logs, which will burn in fires for much longer, but perhaps there are other uses for it too. And let's put in a log stockpile. There we go. Thank you for tuning in to Sapiens, which originally streamed live on Twitch July 16th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch a next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Sapiens.